Welcome everyone. Matthew Hagum. I am your host today and one of several organizers who are on the call. So let's just do a quick little rundown. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, grab whatever you need. We're going to enjoy this experience today, and we meet every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So if this is your first time, please mark your calendars and come back. Now, Dan is our chat monitor today, and Dan is going to drop in the chat some information throughout today's session. One of the things that he's going to share is the bookmark for our group, the link tree, which is where you can get what you need to keep on top of what we're doing, whether it's staying connected through Facebook, following us on Instagram, signing up for our newsletter, or easy access to today's link. And so there you have it right there in case you need to see it visually. You have, again, the Zoom link, sign up for our emails. You can also watch replays as well as a great way to kind of see what happened the last time we were all together. And so we are here today as a community to share ideas, be support for one another, and really help to build each other's respective worlds up, whatever that might mean for you. I know all of us, if I'm not mistaken, are on some form of an entrepreneurial journey. And this is a community that's intended to be there for you, to be a resource and a connection as you go through that otherwise daunting experience. And so what we are about and what makes our community different is we are not here to present or rather pitch people who we are and what we do and why we want them to buy from us, but rather to share information, again, be a connection to one another, be a community, and be intentional in being inclusive in the space that we are in. So please be mindful and respectful of people in our community and the diverse walks of lives that we come from. That being said, we are a national community, over 134 communities, 3,500 attendees, and many, many, many volunteers that really make this thing happen. And what we all stand for is education, presentation, and connections. We've got a lot of great things that people say about us. You can catch some of that here. I think one that stands out for me is kind, respectful, and encouraging, being supportive, really creating a space that's free of judgment, etc. And so, yeah, we thank you again for being here. We do actually have some live events coming up. We've decided as a chapter that the second Wednesday of each month, we are going to be in person. The venue Expansive in Pioneer Square has offered to be our host for that. It's a great location. Our contact there, Joy, has been very gracious in supporting us. And so please mark your calendars for the second Wednesday of each month if you are in the Seattle area. Of course, as I alluded to earlier, might have mentioned, we are run by a community of sponsors and volunteers. So the Method Customization and McLaughlin Method are two sponsors for us, as well as the people on this room or in this room today. Some of them are here, some of them are not, but this is the organization of individuals that keeps this community constantly going and growing. So we are always looking for support. If you're looking to get involved, we do need people to kind of help in a general sense, take on some of the roles and responsibilities to keep this organization going. But we also need people to do very specific tasks. So if you have a skill set, like a one-off talent that you could share with the community to help us do what we need to do, please feel free to email us at seattle@1millioncups.com and let us know what kind of support you can provide us in building this community. Today we are doing not the presentation, so this is not the right side. Oh wait, hold on, that is the right side, my bad. Yes, we are doing Espresso rounds, which means that you all get a chance to share a little bit about who you are, what you're up to in the world, and we get into a little bit of a communication or a dialogue. At the end of today's session, after the Espresso rounds, we will open it up to some breakout rooms. So please try to stay the entire time. so that you can then follow up with more one-on-one conversations with people in the space. And so what to expect in our espresso round? Well, if you choose to do your commercial and tell us what you're all about, then this is a great chance to practice that pitch, tell people about a new product or service you're working on. But otherwise, also feel free to use your espresso round to share a little bit about who you are and just what you're working on, and maybe if there's a reason why you're here today, if there's a call for support that you need, please feel free to leverage that shot to tell the world what you're up to. So we will give you 60 seconds to share. I will be your timekeeper. I'll put my hand up when the 60 seconds goes off. So please keep your eye on me so that we can stay in time. And then after you go, 2 people from the room, our Zoom room today, will get to ask you a question, right? So please know that you'll get 2 questions, and then we'll move on to the next person until we get through everybody. Dan, anything else about espresso rounds? Because I know this is my first time. You've done
Just a reminder, just like previous meetings, if you would like to ask a question, use the reaction button down below to raise your hand, and then Matthew will call on you.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And I need to be able to see everybody, so give me a moment here. All right, so Carla, would you like to start us off by saying who you are and give us your 60 seconds?
Matthew, we still have the presentation pulled up, at least for me.
Let me stop that. I apologize. Give me one moment. Stop share. There it is. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Carlo, over to you.
Yeah, all right. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm actually from New York, so I'm a little bit far away, but I wanted to join in today. The startup I'm working on is called Camp Locator. We're helping international students from around the world find education experiences across the US and North America via marketplace. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We're partnering with schools overseas, and we're helping them find these really good education experiences. They could be in forms of camps, so summer camps, winter camps. They also could be in forms of STEM camps, art camps, theater camps, etc. So I guess that's pretty much my quick pitch or my quick introduction.
Awesome. So if you have a question, either physically raise your hand and come off mute. I see Jolene. Okay, great. And then Jessica. So Jolene, go for it.
So my question is, what age range are you targeting?
We target anyone from 6 years old all the way up to 17 years old. So elementary school, middle school, high school.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What differentiates you from other camps that are similar to this? What's your sort of unique proposition?
So we're not actually a camp. We're building up a marketplace to help students find camps. So there's probably tens of thousands of camps available. And right now, if you go on Google, you probably find the top 5 that have really good SEOs. What about the other ones that don't have good SEOs, that have really good experiences that you can't find them? So we're just kind of building a marketplace so we can list these tens of thousands of camps all on this one platform. And then families and schools and students could choose whatever they want to choose.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it.
No, thank you.
Jolene, I see you have another question, but I'm going to stick to the format. So if you wouldn't mind dropping your question into the chat, and then, that would be the best way to kind of go about that. All right. So next up is Parker. If you want to join the stage, come off mute and give us a little share.
Hi, everyone. I'm a game developer primarily. So I kind of think of myself as more of a game developer than an entrepreneur in many senses. But the project that I'm working on is actually a passion project of mine, where I'm building a scripting language for game developers that is specifically designed to optimize the communication between programmers and non-programmers. So there's 2 different formats that you can use for this language. One is a visual format that is very easy for non-programmers to very quickly prototype high-level ideas. The other is a text-based format that is really good for engineers to go in and optimize and fix bugs and whatnot. And the nice part is that you can seamlessly translate between the two formats to kind of facilitate that communication between the two groups of people that have to work together to make video games.
Cool, awesome. And who has questions for Parker?
Dan?
All right, Dan.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is this for kind of within the same organization or company, or is this to kind of extend communication beyond your organization or to other stakeholders? Like, what's the breadth of this intended for?
So right now it's intended for within the organization, and it's designed to kind of allow quick iteration on a single project. Now, the goal is to have this be like this kind of universal language that everybody kind of picks up, and then eventually there will be online forums and communities and whatnot that can kind of share the kind of the features that they've written in it. But for now, we're kind of starting out with just target studios, and kind of get these teams working on the language.
Any other questions? I otherwise have a question for you, Parker.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what got you into gaming? Like why the gaming industry?
I've kind of always been in it since I was a kid. I've always been into like modding games and whatnot. And I went to college, and I kind of only really had the option of going to a tech school because that was the only thing that my parents would pay for. So I picked computer science and then the graphics, so I can do video games anyways. And so it was been my lifelong passion. And so I kind of just kept pursuing it. So after college, I worked at Microsoft working on Halo for 4.5 years, and then now I'm doing this. So it's just been something that I've been doing my whole life. I'm just gonna keep doing because I play games, make games. Kind of my life is all about games.
I like it. I like it. Thank you, Parker. All right. So Dale, why don't you go next, my friend?
All right. So my business is Imbrium Games, and I create and publish content for role-playing tabletop games. So I do have digital content first. However, I'm not doing video games. So this is all stuff that if you could, or if you were comfortable meeting people in person, you'd sit down at a table and play together. So yeah, so I had my first presentation, as Dan mentioned, I guess last month, and I've made some progress since, but I'm more interested in what people are curious to hear from me. So I'll just bring up some other things if nobody has anything.
Got it. Who has questions for Dale? Curiosity. Jolene, are you saying you do, or?
No, I'm saying I'm curious for him to talk more. Because I think I'm such a lover of games, but so I just want to hear more. So
okay. So what I will say is part of my goal that I mentioned at the last presentation was I'm kind of establishing my rhythm, because a lot of this is new to me. So I have hit some doldrums. It's not zero progress, but where I have had some positive progress is I am now signed up at 3 different conventions this year, where I will be running my own content as a game. And as a result, I've got connections with 2 specific publishers that I want to write content for their systems for. So I'm making progress on the, building some of the connections I need for this to be a sustainable business. And also, with very specific events that are designed to highlight my type of work, where I will be able to put it in front of people who want to consume it. So I think this will be fantastic in terms of giving me real feedback beyond, my own playtesting groups, et cetera. And I've narrowed down to, I've got 4 projects in the hopper that I'm making progress on. That may be a little too much given the other things I'm learning, but this is good. Part of my, part of where I am in the journey is I am specifically learning my own limits and what I can, how many balls I can keep up in the air at once. So this is all good in that sense, although I'm not necessarily making as much progress as I'd like.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Jessica, I know you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to ask your question?
Same question. Thank you.
Question, literally same question. Got it. Got it. Awesome. Any other questions from the crew for Dale?
I'm sorry, I have one. Like, if we want to follow your adventure, like where do we follow?
So at the next presentation, I will be in the phase where I will start basically blasting out all of my stuff. I have to have a little bit of a back catalog before I do that. So once I do that, I will absolutely come here to share that, so that, you know, if you have people who you know who love this type of stuff, I would love to have that be part of my outreach.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you very much. Jolene, why don't you come off mute and share with us what you're
I
up
thought you were going to tell me stop asking follow-up questions.
to? No,
Okay.
I love it. You're good. You're gold. Go for it.
So I'm a year into app world. With the help of I am not a developer, which makes me super uncomfortable because I am the founder of a app that I'm trying to push out into the world that it makes itineraries, theme park itineraries for travel agents. So I'm really B2B right now. And actually I'm in the midst of wondering if I should actually shut down my travel agency, or if my TikTok following and my consumer following would be a really good place to start for my consumer itinerary sales. And I was really focused on just the travel agent stuff, and I still really am focused on that. But maybe in 2 to 3 years, I do want to go to consumers. And that's an interesting thing of like, I have about 20,000 on TikTok, and I feel like that's a really great place for me to continue to grow that. And that would be my market. So that's where I am. Thanks.
Awesome. So who has questions? I know I have one question. So we'll do Carlo's question. And then if anybody else has one, otherwise I'm great. Okay, so Jessica. So Carlo and then Jessica. Go for it, Carlo.
Are you essentially an agency with an app?
So I am not, no. So like, I own a travel agency, but on the app side of things, I'm not a developer. I don't like, I've hired a developer to create what I wanted to send out into the world. Is that what your question is?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay.
So my question is, just theme parks, or could the itinerary app be used for more than just theme parks? Is that something that like first step and then expand?
Yeah, I mean, definitely adding different destinations can happen. The user actually can add whatever content they want. I just supply the theme park library because right now there's not really another app that does that, and that was one of my big differentiators. But I'm adding a lot of cruises and some of the most popular cruises to that. But yeah, you can add the Hyatt in New York City if you wanted to the app now. But I do think long term, yeah, adding New York, San Francisco, London, Paris, that sort of thing is definitely an option. I just need, I'm not sure what's actually the bigger market, the travel agent or the direct to consumer like Disney, and supplying them with already made itineraries. Thanks.
Thank you. Jessica, I know you're walking, but are you in a place to give a little 60-second moment?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Is there too much outside noise?
I can hear you. You're fine.
Jessica Vetz with Edward Jones Investment. So my practice is very focused on people who are in the space that many of you are. Jolene, exactly the conversation that I have with a lot of people is, can I leave my job? Can I afford that to go start this passion business that I have, that I can grow and become an entrepreneur? And how do I protect my future self with my retirement planning? And with the saving that I've done, how do I use some of that saving towards this business idea I have? And how do I use some of that for my future self for retirement? So coming up with strategies that are very unique for people that are moving from W-2 into entrepreneurship. Jessica Vetz with Edward Jones Investment.
Cool, awesome. And who has questions for Jessica? All right, Dan, go for it. And then Jolene, I saw your hand, Jolene.
So Jessica, I know that some firms, as far as you're talking about focusing on people that might have that entrepreneurial bug, but does it make a difference as far as, like, do you target specific net worth individuals or portfolio value or something like that? Is there some sort of category that you focus in on?
Great question. I do target women more than men, but I have plenty of dude clients. I do not have a minimum. I have conversations with people who have very little assets, that there really does need to be a threshold to invest. And so one of my clients started with a $350 rollover and puts in $50 a month. So no, I do not have a minimum. I enjoy working with people who are nervous around or have had a bad experience with financial advisors, very conversational. So that's kind of my target. My joking slogan line is, if you have a to-do list with get a financial advisor on it, and right above that is get a root canal, that's my person.
I don't know that I want a root canal on my list, to be honest with you. I've had one. It's not fun. Got it. All right, Jolene, you had a question. Go for it.
So I have two. Okay. So one, how long does it typically take for people to go from their 9 to 5 to you seeing them departing? Like, how can you put a plan into place for the average person, and what's that timeline typically?
Great question. All over the place. So you talk to, say, somebody who's been ruminating on a business idea for a really long time, and they have a lot of resources. They come into it with, say, a parent or family that is supporting them and does a lot of seed money that they don't, everybody is a snowflake. Every single situation is different, and everyone comes to this from a different space. Somebody who is coming into entrepreneurship after 15, 20 years at Microsoft is going to be in a completely different financial space than I worked a little bit at some nonprofits, and now I think I want to open a business. So, I sit down and I talk to every single person and look at their situation and also look at their priorities. I've talked to people who are like, I don't care about my future self. My future self is going to be taken care of because I'm doing this business that in the future will make money. But right now I need to focus on me. So where do I use this money strategically today? And then I'll get on top of my retirement. So every single plan is completely unique to the priorities of that person right then. Great question though. Did you have a follow-up?
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Adele, why don't you come off and tell people what you're up to in the world, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Hi, everyone. I am a content strategist. Primarily in the past, I've been working with companies in more of like a one-off situation where, and primarily with distilleries on my cocktail page on Instagram. But I am working on building my business out into more of a steady contract situation with other small business owners in person. So I want to be going to their businesses, taking the photos and videos and content for them, saving them the time and scheduling the posts for them. So that's where I'm at right now.
Cool. Awesome. Questions from the audience. And you said you're in Oregon, correct, Adele? So you're in Portland?
Yeah, I'm in Portland.
Got it. Okay. Got it. All right, Jolene, go for it.
Who's your ideal client? Who do you want?
Yeah, I think my ideal clients, I definitely want to work with a lot of like the small distilleries in the Portland area. But I also would love to work.
You want to stay local, like you want to meet with them in person.
Yeah. And I would also love to work with restaurants and retail businesses that are like super, super small, 1 to 2 locations.
And again, local, like restaurant, like local to Portland. Got it.
Yeah, I'm once I take off in Portland and I can quit my server job, then I want to be going back and forth to Seattle all the time too.
I have a question for you, though. You know, I know you're sort of building this new business and you're kind of adventuring out. What is your sort of number one challenge right now as it relates to being an entrepreneur and stepping into this new business that you built?
I think it's definitely just overcoming the fear of getting started. So I've had it on pause and I decided that in April, I want to get back to it and just go out and start introducing myself to people in person. But I'm an extroverted introvert, so those two sides of me are at war.
Love it. The battle of the internal battle is interesting. All right. Thank you, Adele. Thank you. Dan, would you like to go next, my friend?
Yeah, hi. I'm focused on helping small business owners through coaching and business consulting based on my own experience as a small business owner for over 30 years. And I do that through a number of different methods, but I like to take this holistic approach of the individual and the business and come up with, the ideal strategy to assist them where they are in their personal and business life.
Questions for Dan? You can ponder. All right, Carlo, go for it.
Which verticals do you usually work in? Or is that scattered?
Yeah, I actually, so I just started this in January, so I haven't really refined this a lot, but I will say that I want to focus on service-based companies where the business owner is still involved day to day with the business, post revenue and employees, so somebody beyond the founders and owners likely. So likely not this like kind of startup world, but an established business that has revenue, but also one that's not too big, something under like 20 million in revenue, a couple hundred employees. That would probably be the limit as far as the approach that I would typically take would be applicable. But yeah, no super defined vertical at this point.
Jolene, go for it.
So what's the biggest challenge? Like, what's the hurdle, or what's like the oatmeal that you have to eat right now that you don't really want to eat?
I think the biggest challenge is that it kind of alludes to what Carlo had saying. I haven't really defined exactly who I'm going after. My target market is probably too broad at this point. And so I don't have a lot of real effective messaging around it. Unfortunately, I kind of want to put myself out there and try as much as possible, even though I know that's not very efficient, just to see where my vertical might land in my ideal client. But right now, my customer personas and market is pretty general. I wish it wasn't.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. And just a quick note, everyone, if you have a moment, drop your contact information, your LinkedIn profile, etc., in the chat, because I'm sure you're hearing opportunities to offer advice, be a resource, even just curiosities and wanting to connect with one another. So please make sure you do that. I'll go ahead and go, and I think I'm the last one if I'm not mistaken. Yes. All right, cool. All right, so hey everyone, Matthew Hagum. I am the founder and CEO of 10kcreators.com, a business I launched this year, which I'm like super excited about because it's the first business that I'm building that is 100% my own, which is kind of interesting because it's revealing for me some of my weaknesses or some of the areas for improvement. And so one area where I'm really struggling, which I could use some support, is I have just been so, for some reason, one reason or another, so resistant to creating a set of clear offers. And I can't tell if it's because I'm worried about pricing it wrong. I can't tell if it's because I'm worried about, oh, maybe I don't know what the process is going to be. I can't, or maybe I don't know enough about my customers. So I'm kind of like wavering in this state of like, what do I put up online? What do I not put up online? What is my offer? What is not my offer? How many offers do I need to have, etc. So that's where I'm stuck. And with that, I would love some inquiry. All right, so Dan and then Jolene. Yeah. Cool.
Sorry. I'm just curious as far as, is this the hurdle as far as offerings? Is it centered more around like pricing strategy and marketing and what's going to land? Or is it centered more around what's going to really energize you and what you feel is kind of your primary focus, the reason why you started the business? Like, is it...
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's the latter, because I'm running 5 beta clients right now with different variations of what's going on with them. And I'm just now getting into the conversations that I want to really be having with them, right? It's taken a little bit of time. So I'm like, okay. And now I'm starting to witness the thing that I would say, okay, if you really want my help with this, you're gonna have to pay me, right? Like, I'll help you, but it takes time, it takes talent, it takes resources, it takes my expertise. And I think where that line is, so thanks for asking the question, Dan, because it's like, it's presenting itself to me. Where that line is I love helping people build out cash flow spreadsheets. I don't know why. It's like some weird addiction that I have. Yeah, and so, but finding a professional artist or a creative entrepreneur and getting into the conversation about, let me help you with your cash flow projections. It maybe I'm answering my own question. So. Okay, got it. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Jolene, what was it?
I know I was curious, similar question to Dan, because I feel like, and what I just heard you say is, with so many people that I've heard in our industry, when they start charging fees, it's this kind of like awkwardness of how do I have that conversation? And I think a lot of it also, because you come from the world of, you've worked for other people and you've been successful with other people. But I also feel like when it's yours and you are the product, I think it changes, because now they could reject you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can get really, really uncomfortable. And so practicing, and hey, I'm always here to practice, but I'm also curious. So of these 5 people, how many different like products is it? Would they all fit into kind of the same product, or are the 5 that you're working with all different offshoots?
I think roughly half of them would fit into this product of the cash flow budgeting. Yeah, and well, I think all of them could benefit from it, but it's at different levels. And I think the distinction there is, there's personal cash flow and there's business cash flow. And then there's balancing the both of them when you're an entrepreneur or business owner, and how they relate to each other. I think I'm more interested in the latter, because I'm curious about how entrepreneurship is a mechanism for income generation for the creative person, and then how they businessize that and then leverage that to create their financial well-being, right? Which is about their personal finances as much as it is about their business finances. So
and the only reason I ask is I do feel like sometimes people in their website, when they have lots of offerings, I'm like, okay, like what is like, you know everything. And so I'm always like, no, give me 1 or 2 or even 3, like solid, like I know what I'm getting. I know that you know what you're giving me. And that can be super helpful. And so that's why I asked, of your 5 people, like, how many silos do they fit into? And maybe pick 1 or 2, and then I think do that. But I know that you were not, I'm supposed to be asking question and I'm shooting all over you, and I'm so sorry. But
no worries. I appreciate all the shooting and advice. It's advice. Like, you're giving me some good advice. So I appreciate that, Jillian, very much. So thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I learn by getting that reflection back. It's like what happened with Dan, right? Where he was like, ask me the question that I needed to hear, and then I needed to process it out. So perfect, Jillian. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to share my screen because we have everybody, and we're going to get back to our flow. So give me one moment. And again, remember, please put your contact information in the chat so we have that. The tiny screen here. Okay, hold on. I have to move you all out of the way so I can press the button. Okay, give me a second. All right, there we go. Groovy. So we're gonna do maybe a quick round, and let's keep it super short. You all had a chance to kind of hear from one another, learn a little bit about who you are and what you're working on, and even begin to engage in dialogue. I think the question that we as organizers really want to understand is, why are you here? What is motivating you to be a part of this community? And ultimately, what are you hoping to get? So if you can take a moment right now and just kind of quickly reflect on what is that one thing that, if you were to continue to return, you would hope to get from this community. And we'll just go popcorn style, first person off mute. Can be one word, it can be one sentence, no paragraphs, please. Who would like to kick us off with that? Carlo.
I'm looking to connect with like-minded people.
Cool. Thank you, Carlo. Awesome. You want to pass the ball?
Sure. Parker.
I'm looking for a community of entrepreneurs that aren't, necessarily going to tell me that I need to add crypto and machine learning to my startup in order to succeed. That's the biggest one.
Got it. And pass the ball, Parker.
Jolene.
I just feel like there's such nuggets of wisdom across the board that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, they're applicable. And that's what I'm here for.
Word, pass the ball, Jolene.
Let's go, Dale.
Since I left a big corporate environment, I feel like, honestly, you all are giving me some accountability. So I actually appreciate that, and that's what I'm looking for right now.
Good.
Let's go to Adele.
I think right now I am looking for inspiration. I just love hearing what everyone else is going through, and we're all in this together. So it's inspiring. We're all going through the same thing. Let's see, who did Carlo go yet?
Yes, I think Dan and myself are the 2 remaining.
Oh, perfect. I'll do you, Matthew.
Right. Thank you, Adele. I would say for me, I'm looking to sort of, it's like, what do they say? You are the sum of the 5 of the company you keep, right? So I'm looking to be in a community of people who are leaders, who are entrepreneurs, and who want to actively build communities. So that's why I find rooms like this with people like you in it. All right, Dan, what about you?
I like that 1MC creates a safe environment where you can show up as you are, and it's kind of cash, and you can you're safe to put yourself out there.
Word. Thank you very much. I think we got everybody, correct? Thumbs up. Yes, awesome. All right, groovy. All right, so we're gonna jump forward before we get into our breakout rooms. So next week, again, remember, every Wednesday at 9 a.m., you know where to find us. And remember, again, the second Wednesday of the month, we are in person at Expansive in Pioneer Square. So next week, we will be online. The following week, we will be in person, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the second Tuesday?
Yeah, you are correct. And you just flashed up that next week's real quick, but that's it. Resource strategy. Sheila, you've met her on this call before. She's not here today, but she'll be presenting.
Thank you. So we will have a presentation. Thank you very much. And if you are interested in presenting, please go to 1millioncups.com/Seattle. Please know also, PS, that our sessions are I guess I should have said that earlier. Our sessions are recorded. Now that I'm realizing, I'm like, okay. Anyways, point being, it's actually a huge marketing asset, right? The recordings get put up into our database. People can go back and look at them. And also that means that, you know, when you show up to do your presentation, know that it's being recorded so that you can effectively leverage that asset. So our only rule is that you're doing something new, that you're willing to ask for help, and that you want to learn something in the process. As long as that applies to you, and you're not just here to, quote, sell your product and pitch your service, then we are good to go. And you can just go to that link to apply. Again, we are looking for volunteers to support us. Again, we have very specific roles, like my role as the host or Dan's role as your chat monitor. And we've got a lot of documentation about how to do it and what the steps are. So it's super easy to get onboarded as a volunteer. We also do need help with very specific things like, hey, we need somebody to send out that newsletter, or we need somebody, excuse me, to post something on this social media profile for that event, whatever it is. There's some specific requests there as well. So please, if you have time and the ability and want to be a part of the community, please email Seattle at 1millioncups to get engaged with us, and save this link tree. This is really important. It's in the chat. Thank you, Dan. Every Wednesday. Now, a reminder, event, I said it, there it is, info. We will be putting up the RSVP link via the link tree. We do RSVPs through meetup.com. So it'll ask you to join, become a part of that system, and then you'll get notifications from that. And so now we're going to shift into our breakout rooms. Dan, why don't we do 2 breakout rooms? I think that's a good.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we got. And you'll be invited to join a room, and I'm going to hang out here for just a second to make sure everybody makes it into a room before I jump into one.
Cool. Thank you. And we will keep the room open until the top of the hour, just a few minutes thereafter. And I'll send you a message we'll send you a message somehow to let you know that we're going to close the room. Please remember to share contact information first, because that's often the thing that we forget, and then the room gets closed, and then we're like, wait, who was that person? How do I get them? All right, Dan, we are ready, my friend.
Okay.